got a request for a tutorial on this supplies. I went to the thrift and I got a few things, and I'm very, very happy with what I got. I got everything I wanted. A button up. Ideally, you'd want to make a few adjustments to the button up itself, so pick something that fits fabric. So I have this embroidered tablecloth, and what I'm thinking is a skirt, a table skirt, or I'm not entirely sure. It's embroidered along the edge and is finished with a crochet border. For the peplum on this black one, I patchworked a bunch of different fabrics together. Here's the remainder of the shirt. This is from an old button up, and then these are smaller pieces of fabric that I had. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is try on our button up so we can mark where we're going to cut. So along the sides, I marked at my waist. You can mark it however high or low you want it to go. The black top that we're referencing dips in the front and in the back. So we're going to mark how low we want that dip to be at the front and the back. For this version, I think I'm going to put the back at the same height as the waist, but the original one does have a dip like the front. So that's the front, the side, and the back. This is our marking at the front, and this is our marking at the side. I'm just going to freehand a curve upwards. The back is a straight line. Here's the marking on the side. For the back, you're going to do the same thing, which is join the side to the back marking. Like I mentioned, I decided to do my back straight. If you wanted another dip in the back, you can do that. You would just join it to the dip the same way we've done to the front. Okay, so I need to determine the midpoint. I'm folding the top in half and pinning it in place, because we're going to cut on the fold. I've only marked one side. We're going to line these up and then cut on the fold. Hopefully you can see our cutting line. Now for the two gathered tiers. For that, we're going to need our handy dandy measuring tape. So I'm going to measure along the cut edge from here in the front all the way around and back to the other side. Let's call this measurement A. For the width of the first tier, you're going to want to multiply that number by 1.5 or 2 or even 3, depending on how full or puffy you want that tier to be. For tier number 2, we're going to take the width measurement for tier number 1 and then once again multiply that by either 1.5 or 2, depending on how full you want it to be. Now, for the length of each tier, that's really up to you. I'm decently tall and I like really long shirts, so that's what I give myself. So this black one has 2 tiers. They're of varying lengths. This one is 7 inches when finished, and this one is nearly, and the second one is nearly 10, like 9.6 9.75? Yeah, 9.75 when finished. You should determine for yourself the length of those tiers. Measure from your waist downwards to figure out how long you want those 2 tiers to be, and then from there you can distribute this measurement between the 2 tiers in any way you desire. For example, if you decided that you wanted the length of the 2 tiers to be 10 inches, you could then distribute this 10 inches between the 2 layers evenly. That is 5 inches for each layer, or unevenly. For example, tier 1 could be 4 inches and tier 2 could be 6. Something to keep in mind is that these are finished lengths, so you will need to add seam allowance. I am assuming that you're sewing with 1/2 inch seam allowance. If that is the case, then to tier number 1, you need to add an additional 1 inch to whatever your final desired measurement is. And for tier number 2, you need to add an additional 1.5 inches. 1/2 inch is for the seam allowance where tier number 2 joins to tier number 1, and the other inch is for hemming the bottom. Of course, I'm assuming you have a raw edge. If, like me, you found a fabric that is finished on the bottom, then you do not need to add that hemming allowance. A little bit of a detour. I decided that I did in fact want shorter sleeves. I shortened the sleeves, I added a triangle panel, and then I also added a cuff. Tier number 1. This is the last button along the front. I buttoned it up and I'm going to sew it shut over there. For the first tier, there are 2 pieces of fabric here. I'm going to seam along those 2 edges. At the top, we're going to do gathers. So we're going to stitch 2 parallel lines on the biggest stitch setting with no backstitch at the beginning or the end of that stitch. We'll do the same thing with the second layer. 2 parallel lines of stitching along the top. Two parallel lines of stitches, no backstitch at the beginning or the end. This is the front that we were sewing on top of. So we're going to pull the threads that are along the back. Can I pick both of them up? And pull. Very gently. And that should gather the fabric right up. I'm gonna match up the side of the first tier with the side of the top. Pull those gathers until they're the same width. Now we sew. So here's the gathered side. On the non-gathered side, you want to make sure everything is flat, that no fabric accidentally got folded while you're sewing. Sometimes this fabric will get caught in the seam, and then we're going to work on removing the gathering stitches. So they should be pretty easy to find, and you just want to pull them out completely. And we're going to repeat all the steps. Bye! Have a great time!